COVID is arguably the best thing that could have happened to VR gaming. What better way to get people to buy an item that then puts them in a make-believe outside than to remind them how dangerous the real outside is right now. In comes the Oculus Quest. This was the one that really changed the game, no pun intended, for an awful lot of consumers, and then of course its rightful competitors to try to rival something as cool as this, to the point where it even piqued my interest that when it became available during its out of stock period when COVID finally hit, I just had to jump at the opportunity and actually nab one for myself. I've had it for a handful of months now, and so far I actually really like it. I am completely self-aware that I'm not exactly playing it week in and week out because through and through I'm still a console gamer at heart. But I am still very glad and not at all regretful that I purchased myself an Oculus Quest. I even went as far as to actually shoot a video, me unboxing the whole damn thing and then reviewing the specs and kind of breaking down whether or not VR gaming is for someone that such as myself, like a console gamer, etc, etc. And I never got a chance to properly edit those videos because literally about 2 or 3 weeks after I got done shooting that video and I was getting hyped to edit it, to jump into the rigorous process of editing this giant monolith of a video, rumors started circulating of an Oculus Quest 2. Right before it was announced. A few months later into COVID, and here we are, the Oculus Quest 2. Yes, I have one here to review. It wasn't sent to me. I put money down for it. Now, David, why do you have two Oculus? Oculi? I shall explain that, ladies and gents. So, I don't necessarily have the intentions to keep this version of the Oculus Quest 2 because let's just say that there's certain circumstances around my social circle that makes me go, you know what? This is going to have a much broader and more sentimental use come holiday season. But for now, let me pick it up. For those of you who don't know or have been living under a rock, let me explain to you what exactly is the Quest models coming from the company Oculus, owned by Facebook. So essentially, it is their form of trying to make VR gaming or VR experiences very accessible to the common person because these headsets don't require a PC to operate. You simply just put them on, hook them up to the internet, set them up, go through your rigmaroles, and then you are set, being given quality AAA VR experiences without the need of a gaming PC. And what's cool is that over the course of several updates, the Quest, as well as the Quest 2, can operate with a gaming PC through the Oculus Link technology, whether it be with a separate USB-C cable, the proper proprietary link cable, which is essentially just a USB 3.1 cable, or any 3.1 USB-C cable they have laying around. Now, as far as the packaging is concerned, you can tell right off the bat that Oculus is going for something a little different with the Quest 2. And let's get that elephant out of the way. White. I hate it. I hate it. Go ahead, post your little fun David is racist jokes right there in the bottom comments. Go ahead, feel good about yourself. You're done? You got that out of your system? Okay, cool. Let's get to it. I don't like white devices. I just don't. It's just a matter of preference. Whenever I buy a new console, a new phone, a new tablet, whatever you name it, if there's an option between black and white, I always go black. Black goes with everything. It looks sleek, it looks sexy, it looks awesome. I don't like white systems. So I don't know if maybe it's just a way to kind of separate things and keep things kind of, again, simple as far as how to tell the difference between one and the other. Oculus 2 is simply just going to be white. And they kind of kept that consistent with the packaging. As you see, a giant wide sleeve here around the main box. You have the actual picture of the headset itself there on the front. On the top, to make sure that you know what you're buying, you got a big black lettering Oculus right there. Nothing really going on the side since it is a sleeve. And then on the back, you got pictures of the usual suspects that you buy this thing for, especially Beat Saber right there. Unboxing is also just as simple. All you have to do really is remove the sleeve, open the lid on the box, of course take off all the cellophane and packing material included, and then you're good to go. The system is right there inside, ready for the taking. Of course, keeping consistent with my very own nitpicks, I prefer the unboxing and the actual packaging provided with the original Quest, not only because, like I said, it's that darker aesthetic, but also I just personally feel like it's a bit more premium. You get like spongy textures and a proper place to really stand the Oculus on, that it could almost serve as a little bit of a display. That's not to say that this one won't. It kind of looks like a treasure chest, but again, preferences. And waiting for you inside is, of course, the headset itself, the 2 controllers, and then all of your illegal mumbo jumbo packaged inside the same box that houses your portable charger that goes into the outlet, as well as a USB-C cable. And now here we have the Oculus Quest 2 headset itself. Not gonna lie, the actual white color that they went with is not so much white. It's probably because of the lighting that they use on some of those pictures. Because in person, it looks more like a gray. It looks more like a flushed, I don't want to say metallic, but more of a... yeah, it's a gray. So it's a little easier on my personal eyes, so that's good to see. I just still overall prefer the aesthetic and the overall look of the original Quest, but that's just me. Now, what I do enjoy a little bit better on this one than the original Quest is the size of the headset. I can definitely feel the difference in size, because that's one of the things that they were going for, is size discrepancies. For the headset itself, they understand that weight is a big issue. Some people's heads are a little bit lighter than the others, so when you add extra heft, it's not exactly the most comforting experience. So with Quest 2, they went with a smaller headset, feels a whole lot more compact, a lot more rigid, and I like it. But before we go on any further, I think we gotta bring in the big brother for this one. All right, the family mostly can join here together. We are missing the Rift, but I'm not even gonna deal with that. So we have the Quest and the Quest 2, and you can see right off the bat amongst the front here that the difference in size is very noticeable. Maybe separated apart, you might look at it and go, well, you know, maybe if I held it in my hand, that's how I'm gonna really feel the difference. But once you feel it on your head, that's what's truly going to make the difference. And here you can see the physical differentiators here. So you got the Quest, as far as size, it's definitely a lot bigger, a little bit more robust there. And of course, you're going to have the fabric felt right on top here, as well as on the sides, except for the front here is that old-fashioned plastic. Oculus Quest 2, it's that plastic kind of texture all the way around. It's durable plastic, but it's still plastic nonetheless. It doesn't, again, goes back to what I was talking about with the packaging and the messaging that they're really sending. Quest still feels a bit more premium, whereas Quest 2 feels lesser premium, but a bit more simplistic and affordable and accessible. And that's ultimately what they're trying to do with the Quest 2 here. Now, what I think they didn't really shorthand too much is the padding that's going on right here on this outer rim. I've tried it on a handful of times, and this padding still feels comfortable just like it was on the Quest. In fact, on the Quest, it's a little bit more rigid. This feels a whole lot softer, so that's definitely something that they did improve. And the size itself does feel rather nice in hand and on head. The Quest is nothing to really complain about, but I understand that this is one improvement that they did have to focus on and go, yes, we have to take into consideration how this is going to feel on someone, person to person. And this, I think, universally is going to be a really liked size. Now, when we get to the actual kind of construction of the headset, it's for the most part the same thing. You got the cameras here at the front, you got the USB-C connector right there. And then over on the other side, you have the power button that's now horizontally placed farther to the inwards part of the right side, as opposed to on the Quest, where it was not only made vertically, but it was also part of the front, I guess you could say, chest piece of the Quest itself right there. Now, as I hold this also brings one other thing to my attention that I think is a step backwards. But that's just me. Everybody else could be a little bit different. Some people might think that this is a little bit nicer, an improvement, but I really don't think so. On the bottom of the Quest, you have two different little peripherals there. One of them is a volume up and volume down notch that you can press in and out on both sides so you can control the volume of your Quest. Especially when you don't have the earphones and you want to use the 3D audio built into the set, this is what controls it. On the other side, you have a slider, and this slider would move the lenses. You can't really see very well from where you guys are at, but this would actually move the lenses. Oh, actually, you can see it. Outwards and inwards for adjustability, to make sure that, of course, everybody's going to have different placement of eyes, so that if you want to make sure that the picture is not at all blurry and it's convenient for you, that's exactly the slider that you have to toggle in order to make sure that you're getting the best possible image. On the Quest 2, you can see that you have your volumes notch or volume buttons up and down right there, but over across, there's no slider. There's nothing. You have to actually remove the headset every time if you want to adjust between the three predetermined settings of the lenses themselves. So you have to actually reach inside, and it switches between three different placements, both lenses. And that's the only real way to adjust it. You have to go inside, move the lenses themselves with your fingers, as opposed to going by a slider that can then be toggled to a specific kind of a placement of those lenses. Whereas here, you only got 3 settings. 1. Oh, I skipped it. 2. And then 3. So you got far out, middle, super in. And that's all that you're really left with right there. And I think that could potentially alienate some people, especially aliens. And then you have the strap itself, which is going to be holding the device up to your head in the first place. And this is another major overhaul that they made from the Quest. Some of it I like and some of it I don't. I like the adjustability of these pieces here. You can pop off. There's a certain section that you can kind of pop this out, so you can kind of keep things a little bit more adjustable as far as if you want to kind of loop it around the head instead of having it be firmly attached and seamed into the Quest itself via Velcro like on the original Quest. And then you have the back part of the strap that is very much adjustable with the 2 kind of clamps right here, the way you normally do with pretty much anything that you really wear that requires this kind of concoction right there. And then you have this middle strap with, once again, some more Velcro to give you adjustability above your head. Now, it's a different overall build that I personally still don't know how to feel, because you go over here to the Quest, and sure, you might not have the most pleasable material on your head, especially when you're dealing with this rubber piece here on the back. This is not exactly the most pleasant thing to feel on the back of your head, especially when you have longer hair, like such as myself, or you're a woman with longer hair. This is going to kind of chafe and give you some slight discomfort if not put on correctly. But what it will secure is just that, security. A grip, a tight grip on your head to make sure that this does not feel like it's sliding off. And this is something that at least this rubber kind of texture will give you. So it feels durable, it feels nice, and I don't feel like it's going to rip. Whereas the strap over here, because it's made out of cloth, all it takes is one little snippet, and I could see this potentially being torn off in the right hand, especially people who bought the Quest for themselves, but they happen to have kids, or they happen to have pets, or something like that. A dog could chew through this very easily, whereas this, it might take a couple of bites, but it's going to take a much longer approach to be able to actually cut through this entire thing. And what also kind of bothers me is that if you do want premium quality of this type of strap on the Quest, they do make it available for you as a separate accessory. And then if you want to prolong the battery life of your Quest itself, you have to buy another accessory that comes with that same strap, but also with an added peripheral battery built on the back. I personally don't know how I should feel about that. Hell, I didn't even cover the extra vision guards to give you some extra padding and cut out the light that seeps into the headset. So that's it for the headsets. Now let's talk about the controllers. I'll make the argument that I think out of any VR headset, what is more important than how the headset feels like is actually how the controllers feels like, because this is where more of the sensory functions are going to come into play, especially when it comes to motion control, motion detection, and immersion with the experience that it's actually waiting for you inside of the Oculus Quest itself. Here we have the Quest original controllers, and then here we have the Quest 2s. Now, despite the difference in color, the other major thing that Oculus was also striving for with their newest version of the Quest was going to be ergonomics and comfortability with the new controllers. Now, it might not come across well on camera, but the Quest 2's controllers are actually made out to be a little bit bigger and, you know, by default, are more ergonomic than that of the Quest 2's. And to be honest, they still feel pretty nice. They do feel a little bit bigger. I don't know what it is, but there's something about the actual quality make of the rims themselves that feel a little, I don't want to say cheap, but a little Fisher pricey, as opposed to the Quest's original controllers where they're a little smaller, so you do have to be, you know, I have small hands, so it doesn't really make that much difference to me, but I can definitely see how other people with bigger fingers, bigger hands can maybe cramp up or not feel as good holding these things because of how much smaller the buttons and the control sticks and the overall grip and feel of the Quest's original controllers were. To me, however, again, it relies on that quality premium build, and I personally like the Quest's original design, the texture on the grips, and the overall plastic of the rims themselves. It just feels a whole lot nicer to me and a little bit lighter weight. Now, the fact that the Quest 2s are weighed down a little bit it does make me feel like I have something a bit more secured and I'm never gonna miss a button. And the ergonomics are definitely much better. I can definitely see a lesser likelihood of me cramping up, especially if I'm playing a game for hours on end. This feels really nice. In fact, it feels better than the original Quest as far as ergonomics and size and design. But the actual texture and quality and build of the Quest is what I think trumps, no pun intended, the Quest 2's controllers. And those are pretty much my first impressions of the Quest 2 from the get-go. Now, I did boot up the system, I did set it up, and this is probably where the next big red flag that can come into play for an awful lot of people, even myself included. And that is that recently Facebook made the rounds of controversy with what they're doing with the Quest as far as linking up your Facebook account and keeping track of certain little details. Doesn't exactly float everybody's boat. And I did see a shade of that during the setup of the Quest 2, where I actually had to jump on my phone and sign into the Oculus app using my Facebook account, and I don't remember having to do that with the original Quest. So that is something that was kind of gnawing a little bit at the back of my head that is a necessary evil I had to go through, but I can definitely understand if some other people feel completely uncomfortable with that notion. Just know that that's waiting for you during the initial setup. And if you were to take that and pair it with the whole elite strap that you can add here for comfortability, the type that you would originally see on the first Quest, and being taken away just so that they can provide you an accessory, we start to cross a few ethical boundaries there that I will have to kind of observe closely as Oculus, in tandem with Facebook, develops more and more materials, content, and support for the current Quest, which then in turn can then go into the Quest 3 and beyond. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to cut the video right here. I'm going to spend a good chunk of time actually playing experiences on the Quest 2, dealing with improvement in clarity, responsiveness, seeing how it pairs up with the original Quest as far as quality and reception, and how it's able to maintain the battery life while at the same time delivering the experiences that I remember from the Quest. And what better game to really test that out with than with Half-Life Alyx. I've been meaning to play that, and I feel like the improved quality deserves a quality game. And I think Half-Life Alyx is the perfect candidate to do that with. So give me some time, guys. I will bring you guys a second video dubbed my final thoughts on the Quest 2. In the meantime, thank you for watching this video. What are your stance on VR gaming? Is it for you? Is it not for you? Let me know in the comments below. Like and share as I mentioned before. Subscribe for that future video that I'm going to be posting. And in the meantime, if I am planning on streaming any kind of VR content, you guys know where to find it. Twitch.tv, Facebook Gaming, and YouTube at Dark Spider David Unlimited. Links are going to be in the description below. Thank you guys for watching once more, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Stay humble.